So I was in an event in the Illawarra about 2 months ago now, and it was just a normal night out with friends. I guess that was why it was so surprising the next day when I woke up with no recollection of what had happened for about the past, 10 or so hours. So it turned out the next morning I asked my partner what happened, and I sort of thought maybe I drank too much, so I sort of dismissed it. I didn't really want him to tell me. I kept saying, don't worry, and he was trying to force the conversation, and he said, look, I think you got drugged.
I definitely think it's happening in Wollongong. I definitely believe that some of the people I've talked to, some of the stuff has been about the confusion that they've felt because they can't prove it.
My mum's quite worried because I just turned 18, so she knows that I'm going out, and yeah, she says like always keep my drink close and don't, leave it around.
Yeah, it just ruins someone's night, and for what? Like, everyone's out to have a good time, everyone's out to be nice, and I think it ruins the night, so.
I don't see there's a point in drink spiking. Like, you're wasting your time and money to spike someone's drink. Like, what's the point of it?
Yeah, it's a terrible thing.
Yeah.
People are just heartless. They shouldn't be doing that.
I feel like some clubs, there are people out there just to prey on young, innocent people, girls in particular.
Because that's the thing, just because it's not proven doesn't mean it's not happening, but so many people are so scared to come forward because it's going to be victim blaming.
We went for drinks just after work with a couple of the girls that I work with. When I went to pay, being the typical poor uni student, my card declined. I realised I didn't have money transferred over. Quickly turned away from the bar, transferred money, turned back, handed my card back over. Pay went through, took my drinks out the back to the table where we were sitting. The girl I bought one of the drinks for said hers tasted funny. I pounded her drink because we were about to leave, and that's the last thing I remember. Thankfully, the worst that happened was I lost $300, but if that drink got to potentially its intended target, it could have been a lot worse.
I came back from going to the bathroom and I just picked up a drink off the table and I finished it. And then not 15 minutes later, I went outside and things took a very bad turn, although I felt like I was having a really fun time. I started hallucinating really badly. And then lost pretty much all control. I don't actually remember what happened, but then probably 2 hours later I collapsed on the floor and had a seizure in the middle of a nightclub. Like after it all happened, like paramedics were called, the club was shut down. I was like out on the steps of this club and just threw up all over myself. Like I had no idea what had just happened, and my friends were just like all really shaken up and like really concerned.
After about like half an hour, things just started getting just way too out of control, and there was definitely something that was not right with the drink. There was like a delay of everyone's visuals. It felt almost like as if it was like some sort of like psychedelic, but it was just, I could not see straight at all, and it wasn't just like I was drunk. My eyes, my pupils, my friends said were not normal, and it wasn't like drunk how, if they look a bit drowsy or you lack pronunciation. It wasn't like that. I was constantly agitated and like my heart was just racing, and obviously there was like I was thirsty for water. And I mentioned these symptoms to even the bouncer before he kicked me out, and I was like, hang on, I'm not drunk, can you please help me out? And no, there was no help at all.
All I remember doing was feeling really like in and out and really unwell and booking an Uber home. And in the Uber home, I just was in and out of consciousness. The driver had to pull over and I fell out of the car.
Right now, it's sort of, I don't know, I'm definitely more conscious, like, when I am out, especially for other people, because, back when it happened, I was sort of very deep into party drugs, I guess, and a lot of the girls that I was with weren't, so it made me think, like what would have happened if it happened to one of the girls instead of me. But yeah, right now, still, like, I'm very conscious about where I leave my drink. Like, I always carry my drink around with me, and then every time one of my friends puts a drink down on a table, like, I keep an eye on it, like, subconsciously.
That night I was very much, like, I had my cocktail just sitting there, but I was off dancing with my friend, and, like, you just can't do that because you don't think it's going to happen to you until it does. And situations could have been a lot worse. Like, I was alone for a lot of the time, so I was thankful that, like, it didn't end bad.
There's a girl that I know who we were talking about maybe 2 weeks ago at one of the venues in Wollongong. She was out one night and she'd experienced the same thing. She actually went to talk to the security guard, and he was saying, you haven't been drugged, you're just too drunk. So he kicked her out, and then somehow she'd made her way to the hospital, thank goodness, and the nurse told her that it had actually happened to about 8 other girls at the same venue that same night. But yeah, long term, I suppose it just makes me more cautious, and it makes me really think about what I'm doing, who I'm doing it with. I certainly have no intention of ever going out by myself. I think that thought really terrifies me. Even just going out with girlfriends scares me too. I feel like I need to have my partner there, which I'm quite an independent person, so that's not really something that I feel very proud to admit, but I do feel like I need the protection of my partner when I go out.
I think things that can change and stop drink sparking Wollongong would probably be to make bouncers aware of it more.
Maybe just more security in venues. I think it's like sad that like girls and guys, like, you have to be so careful when you go out. Like, you should be able to go out feeling that you can have a good time, get home safe.
Educating the security guards, because a lot of the time they'll see girls that look extremely intoxicated where they've actually been sparked.
Even if it's just like, hey, pay an extra couple of bucks and you can have a straw for the night that you can test all your drinks with, then sure, like, that would probably be a really good first step. And obviously, preventative measures are always the better ones, rather than trying to find people, because that's always tough to do.
So yeah, I suppose, yes, it definitely happens. Yes, it's happening a lot in Wollongong, as thanks to social media, I think that we're becoming increasingly aware of that. However, the fact that I didn't know about it when I was 18, I suppose that says that there's a lot more that should be noted and a lot more that should be advertised for especially young girls, but young guys too.